Can Jerry Jeudy be a top 24 wide receiver in 2021? Or has DMendy been drinking too many high noons? Find out next. Welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. DMendy here to talk about a player that I feel is going to take a big leap going into his second year, and I expect to greatly benefit from improved quarterback play. And that, my friends, is Jerry Jeudy, who I expect to be a top 24 wide receiver in PPR in 2021. So again, am I crazy for thinking that? Well, didn't look too great last year, but let's dive into the numbers a little bit before you think I'm off my rocker here. So Jerry Jeudy in 2020, his 2020 stats, he played 16 games, had 113 targets, which ranked 23rd, 52 receptions, 856 yards, 16 and a half yards per catch, which actually ranked 7th in the NFL, only 3 touchdowns, and yeah, so not very great numbers all around, 53 and a half yards per game. So what makes me think that Jerry Jeudy can make that leap from year 1 to year 2? Let's talk about his year 1 again, not just the stats, but his up and down season in which he caught 52 passes, 856 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But it was actually the second best rookie season in Broncos history, behind only Eddie Royal in 2008. Jerry Jeudy did suffer a case of the dropsies, as he had 12 dropped balls, which was second most behind only Deontay Johnson, and that's simply not going to cut it. So who was throwing Jerry Jeudy the ball in 2020? It was mostly Drew Lock. And just so you guys can see Drew Lock's statistics on screen, was not exactly the best according to Player Profiler. His true completion percentage was 37th among quarterbacks. Accuracy rating was 33rd. Interceptable passes 6th. Catchable pass rate 42nd. And yards per attempt 27th. So that is not going to get the job done. And that carried over to Jerry Jeudy, who, if you look on screen for Jerry Jeudy and what able to transition to his numbers and what that effect on the quarterback did to him. According to Player Profile, he had 6th in air yards among all wide receivers, but 2nd in unrealized air yards. His catchable target rate was 105th amongst wide receivers. His target quality rating was 102nd. His target accuracy was 107th. And his quarterback rating when he was being targeted was 106th. Now, that's a lot of 100s across the board for somebody that literally did not have any kind of good quarterback play in terms of throwing him the ball. So it's hard to be a good wide receiver for most cases if you don't have a quarterback that can get you the ball. Well, looking at last year, you see all the bad stuff with Drew Lock, but they're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, who's looking like right now, honestly, a knight in shining armor as somebody that's just better and a competent quarterback over Drew Lock. So according to Player Profile, let's take a look at Teddy Bridgewater's data, and you'll see that he's a lot better in a lot of categories. It's really going to benefit Jerry Jeudy. He was 12th in yards per attempt, 1st in accuracy rating, which is huge for Jerry Jeudy, who had a lot of uncatchable balls in his first year with Drew Lock, 15th in true completion percentage, 7th in clean pocket completion percentage, and 7th in catchable pass rate. So all of those things are just showing me, hey, Teddy Bridgewater may not light the world on fire, but he's going to be able to get Jerry Jeudy the ball and let him make plays, who's a great yards after catch guy. And that's, again, huge for Jerry Jeudy having a year 2 breakout. Talking about Teddy Bridgewater, though, again, you're looking past the numbers. He just last year showed you that he could have 2 1,000-yard receivers in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson that were both extremely fantasy relevant, not to mention Curtis Samuel, who was on the cusp at 851 yards last year. Teddy Bridgewater has already spoken out about Jeudy, specifically in Broncos camp, and the two have been reported to have already great rapport with one another. Jeudy, who's going into his second year now under offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur, is getting more comfortable with Denver's offensive scheme, And coming off a year in which he led the NFL with 26 incomplete targets that were deemed to be the quarterback's fault, the elite footwork remains to be there for the guy that was once the best wide receiver in all of college football. He's right now, Jerry Jeudy, going as wide receiver 38 among consensus ADP, and that is simply a mistake. He has Pro Bowl and All-Pro potential while possessing game-breaking ability and has an increased understanding among the nuances of the new offensive system. Jerry Jeudy will be a top 24 wide receiver in 2021, and you can take that to the bank. If you enjoy all these videos breaking down wide receivers, breaking down quarterbacks, running backs, anything fantasy football, Devy, of course, other sports, basketball, baseball, please make sure and hit that subscribe button. Better yet, smash that subscribe button for the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate everybody, their support. Our subscribers are going up, which is always motivating us to make more content. We truly appreciate all you guys, and we'll make sure to catch you all in the next